You can watch us on YouTube at Falls Area Community Government, or Twitter at FactTV8, or Facebook by typing in Falls Area Community TV. Fact TV Government Channel, keeping government honest.
Hey folks, this is Alex Stradling and this is your Fact TV update. So we have a lot of big things going on. So while you're waiting for the meeting, I'm just going to highlight some of the things that we have going on here at the station. The first big thing is we've had channel changes. So if you're a Comcast customer, we used to be on Channel 8 and Channel 10. Channel 8 was our public channel and Channel 10 was our government channel where you'd see all the municipal meetings. Now our channels have changed. So now on Comcast we're 1076 for the public channel and we're 1086 for the government channel. So if you're waiting for a meeting right now and you want to watch the meeting on cable TV, go to channel 1086. So channel changes. 1076, 1086, Comcast. All right, so moving on. The next big thing that we have is that we here at Fact TV have been working in partnership with the Bellows Falls Union High School, and we provide a little financial support so that they can purchase a fully automated remote cam to be installed into the basketball gym, which they installed at the Holland basketball gym. And now that gives us the opportunity to be able to broadcast all the Bellows Falls Union High School games. So this is very exciting news. We're not sure if they're going to have basketball this season. We still have to wait for the governor and what his decision is. But if they do start up basketball, we're going to be able to cover all the basketball games. The girls varsity, boys varsity, JV, all the basketball games. So this is really great news. If you want to be able to catch the basketball games this season and in the future, please go to our Facebook page, the new Facebook page that we created, and that's called Falls Area Community TV Bellows Falls Area Sports. Go to that page. That's where we're going to be broadcasting the basketball games. Like the page and follow it. Okay, so moving on. Now, as you know, as you're waiting for the meeting to come on, we cover a lot of meetings, so we can't put every meeting live on our Facebook page. So I know a lot of folks go to our Facebook page and they may be looking for a meeting. We just don't have the amount of pages. We can't do multiple streams of multiple meetings on one page. So some of our content has to go to other Facebook pages or to our YouTube channel. So if you're looking for a meeting and you're on our Facebook page and it's not there, then what you can do is go to our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, type in Falls Area Community TV Government, subscribe to our channel, and there you'll be able to find the meeting if you don't find it on Facebook. The other place that you can find it is if you go to our website, fact8.com, and click on, you go to our menu here, go to the menu, scroll down to Fact TV Live. Okay, and this page will pop up, live meetings and events. And we have two players for that. So you could be one or the other meeting. So that's one way that you can view the meetings. All right? And while we're on our website, the last thing I want to present to you folks, a lot of people don't know what Fact TV is. They think that we're a news station. They think that we're a corporate TV station. We're not. We're none of those things. We're a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit media access center. We're here to help the community to produce their own content to broadcast out on cable. We have the tools, we have the equipment, we have the resources, we have the training. We're here to provide that to you to be able to produce content for television. So also to provide the platforms. So if you want to air your content, if you're already producing stuff on Facebook, if you already have a video, if you already post videos on social media and you want to maybe reach a local audience, a wider audience, you can submit your video to us and we'll distribute it on our pages and we'll put it on cable. And it's very easy to do. There's three ways that you can do that. First, you can either give me a call at 802-463-1613 and I can walk you with a phone how to do it.
Shelby will hopefully join us in progress. So I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Brookline Select Board for February 3rd, 2021. The time is 6:30 p.m. First up is changes to the agenda, if any. The only thing I'll note is Samara is supposed to be joining us for the very first item, and I think she probably is still joining us, although I got a slightly confusing email from her a little bit ago. So I suppose we may just have to, we may move on to some other things until she shows up, or shuffle it around slightly to, depending on when she joins. But other than that, I didn't have any other changes to the agenda. Glenn, did you have any changes you wanted to make to the agenda?
No.
Bruce, any changes to the agenda?
No.
Joseph, any changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay, then steaming right along, we're the one scheduled members of the public is Samara. She's not here yet, but hopefully she'll join us shortly. And just to clarify, I am here physically in the town office, and then online we have Bruce, Guy, and Gwen, the folks from Fact TV, Joseph, and also Peter Barris, and everyone is remote. There are no unscheduled members of the public here or online. So first up is approving the minutes from the January 20th meeting. So Peter noticed that Mark wasn't listed and should be listed, so you'll add that in. Gwen just noted, and I noticed it also, that under the roadside tree removal, in the first sentence, the car price was $2,500 per day, not $25,000 per day. So if we can make that change. And the only other thing that I had actually was on page 2, down under the email communications, the first line, Marcia Oman's name is actually Marsha. If we could just change that.
Oh, okay.
The only other correction I had, David, the only other correction I had is on page 1 under town meeting warning. The capital J is not capitalized on your name. And then it says previously that the numbers had not audited. I think it should be the numbers had not been audited to date.
What a woman.
Okay, so I see. So that's, so first off, Peter, you got the $2,500 instead of 25,000. You got that one?
Yep.
Okay. And you got the change to the spelling of Marcia's name in the.
Yep.
Okay. And then you see, so down under town meeting, the third paragraph, the second sentence starts with Mr. Jones. I guess just capitalize my last name.
Got it.
And then following on from that, the following sentence, I think, Gwen, is the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it had not previously, that numbers had not been audited. They hadn't been audited yet.
Oh, yeah, had not been
Audited.
Do you see where that is, Peter?
I'm just looking for that.
So just after the capitalization of my name, the next sentence, the next full sentence says, it had been noted previously that the numbers had not been, we should just insert been audited, not been audited to date. Does that make
Sorry, I'm
sense?
very slow here for some reason.
Okay.
Starting to wonder if I'm in the right one. Let me see. This was January 20th we're doing, right?
Yep.
Under old business.
Ah. Sneaky little bugger. I had not been audited.
Correct.
Mr. Jones, got it. Thank you.
So that was it for you, Gwen?
That was
That was
it.
an effort.
Okay. Bruce, did you have any
No,
other
we're all set.
changes to the minutes other than what you mentioned? Okay.
No.
Okay. Joseph, I know you weren't there, but did you see anything you thought should be changed other than what we've noted?
No.
Okay. All right, then I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes from January 20th as amended. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Seconded.
Seconded by Gwen. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from January 20th as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I suppose I should be one.
So that's approved with one abstention. And we're through the minutes, which brings us to new business and our treasurer update. And Samara, I believe, has just joined us. Hi, Samara.
Hi, Dave. I had to unmute myself. I can unmute myself. I'm generally hard to mute.
You are allowed to unmute yourself. I can always mute you again if I want to, but you can't.
Oh, good to know. All right. Well, I asked to be at today's meeting because I have engaged another assistant treasurer to hopefully stay on and get reappointed by Michael Masters so that she could get some training. And her name, some of you know her, it's Judy Akampora. She's been sworn in. I need to have her salary rate approved.
Judy Akampora?
Judy, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Let me,
I'm good.
I will tell you what her current task is mostly. There's a backlog of file cleanup needed. The current focus is to organize and update our grants log. Dave has been doing, a hard job of tracking grants and working with the road guys and the municipal Wyndham Regional folks. But as I perused our files, we have a serious backlog of organizational work that needs to be done. Now, as some of you may remember, Guy may remember that back when I first stepped in 2011, Judy helped me as a volunteer organize. She actually helped me organize all the backlog of payroll of, as I like to call them, love letters from the IRS, and put them in order, got the files squared away, and helped me make sense of them so I knew where to begin and how to approach getting some money refunded to us. And she has a background as an attorney, and
That's right.
her mind is pretty sharp.
Yep, it is.
She's very sharp. She's a little squirrely about the computer stuff, but hey, she likes it, and she has already come in and done some AP entry as well. So what I've asked her to do while I'm on board and is help get our files in order so that we can find things and know where we stand with grants easily and know if we've collected all the money and have our little log updated. And she already has shared with me some excellent thoughts on how to set up a different type of file system and get things to a point where we can lay our hands on them quickly, which is always a good thing. And so that's her primary focus at the moment, but she's also being trained to come in periodically and make sure all the bills are entered so that Michael can do some of the higher level tasks now that he understands. He's been doing the AP entry and producing the warrant and everything. And he's been a tremendously quick study. And
Right.
we're really lucky that he's stepped up.
I would argue with
And
that.
so it was my intention to find someone to help me, but also to be able to stay on and help Michael if he feels that's suitable, because I've told him he's going to be the one in charge, and he gets to make it his own, so to speak. So Judy has started, and I am hoping we can offer her $18 an hour, because she's certainly up to it. And I'm thinking that is a fair price for her skill level and her abilities. And I realize from what David told me, you've budgeted a little bit less, but I think that $18 is really that's my personal opinion. I think that's the right hourly rate that should be approved for her services, at least at this time. And could be everything can be reevaluated, of course. But,
right. And I guess the thing to clarify is, of course, what we've budgeted is for the next fiscal year. So what was actually budgeted for this fiscal year is even lower than any of that.
Which is true.
But since we underused so many hours early in the year, we're probably still going to be fine and whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go over budget, because the Treasury budget was so underutilized, partly due to COVID, partly due to, just other circumstances. But on average, from what I can tell, just from looking at past payroll warrants and hourly records, is the average hours per week spent by either Sarah or Danny or the two of them combined was never more than 4 hours per week.
Right.
So it's significantly under budget. And we have a backlog now of things that really need to be organized. We're not in terrible shape. Certainly financially, and I did email out to everybody the most recently reconciled financial statements were as of December 31st. All the bank reconciliations have been done. All the adjustments I could find were put in. There may be I still haven't gone back to check the current year for specific posting errors. But by and large, the bottom lines are correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty confident the bottom lines are correct. There may be things in the wrong categories.
Samar,
yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you sent them out, it was dated Monday, I think it was, and you had it through the end of the year. I was just looking at what I'm always interested in is the school account. The school account. There was 7 payments for the rental. I'm assuming, which would include January 1st. I'm assuming it was paid early, and that's why it was included. Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would I also assume correctly that anything that was on an AP warrant in the month of January is not in that number?
That is also correct.
Bummer. Okay.
And the January statements should come out to you a lot more quickly. So now this is mostly for Joe's benefit, because he wasn't in the select board before. Legally, and I don't know if legally, the treasurer is required by Vermont state law to provide quarterly financial statements to the select board, no less than quarterly. And we aimed to get them out monthly. I don't know. I know what hasn't been printed, but I didn't go through and search for what you guys actually received and when you received it or anything. But I think from now on, I'm not going to go back and try and get a backlog of old financial reports to you. You have now the final fiscal year of the prior year because of the town reports. And that has been gone over pretty much with a fine tooth comb to get things in the right places. And the auditors they got through it pretty quickly this year. And I had a pretty good long chat with Frank Rucker and Heidi Nystrom about some of the issues that came up. And there are a couple of unresolved issues that neither of which affect the school building fund, Bruce.
Okay.
But what I can do is I can send you out preliminary interim reports for January, if that's helpful to you.
Yeah, I had so many bills between October and now and Guy was great at trying to get me to get it straight, but it wasn't easy. So if you have any kind of an update, any type
Sure.
of what I want to say is, if you can give me a year to date as of today, even with today's AP warrants, I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? In other words, the bottom line.
Hang on
Yes.
just 1 second. Sorry. Could everybody just pause for a second? Sorry. Someone
Sure.
just joined. Who just joined the call?
Oh, yes, Dave, this is Mark Bill
Hey,
calling
Mark.
in.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Hey, Mark.
Okay.
Hi.
Sorry.
This has turned into a party.
Before we get, I not that I don't think this is good information, and I don't want to. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to lose track of the main focus of this.
I got that. I'm just asking Samara. There's more
No,
up to date that you can.
I'm
that'd be
happy
No,
great.
and
to
we
do
can
it.
circle back to that, but let's get this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I made
So
a note. Yeah, Bruce.
Let her finish, Dave. What's that, Samara?
I made a note and I will
Thank
get
you.
a year-to-date report. Not a problem.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much. I'm good.
And with the caveat that you have to remember whenever things are sent out before bank reconciliations are done, if there are any cash errors, they won't have been discovered. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
that is
I doubt
important to know.
there
in the
shouldn't be with my
meantime,
situation.
In the meantime, I think everything is up to date. I do want to say, so I need a decision on if $18 an hour is okay for Judy.
Which is what I was trying to get back to.
Good.
Bruce will let me.
Oh.
Bruce, I'm going to mute you now so that I can talk. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't have a problem with that. I think it makes sense if I trust your judgment in what we need. And I think that's still, when we get to the next iteration of the treasurer, I think we can work to make sure we stay as close to the budget as we can, even with those, even with that factored in. So I don't have a problem with that. Gwen, do you have any problem with that?
She's muted.
Gwen, do you have any problem with that? You might need to unmute yourself, Gwen. Guy, Gwen, we'll come back to you.
No problem.
Joseph, do you have any problem with that?
No, not at all.
Bruce, do you have any problem with that?
You're going to have to unmute him.
Star 6 to unmute, Bruce.
Star 6 to unmute yourself, Bruce.
If you muted him, Dave, can he unmute himself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Star 6 to unmute yourself, Bruce.
It's just like the governor press conferences.
Yes, unmuted.
Yeah, I know you can.
How
There you
sweet
go.
Jesus.
There we go. So do you have any concerns
No.
with the $18 for the?
Okay, great.
No, it's a good idea. She's a good lady. She's my next door neighbor. I'm all in favor of it.
You don't.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we're all okay with that tomorrow. So what were the other things on your?
There are a
Your
couple
list?
other things I want to let you know that I'm working to resolve. So with the biggest issues in the past year and going into the current year has been getting, with all the switch in payroll companies, has been getting the new payroll company to understand what taxes we're subject to and what we're not subject to. And we had a close call in January where we got a notice they were going to take $2,000 as a tax payment on January 20th, if we couldn't tell them why. And Michael and I worked through and tried and talked to them about how to, why were they doing this? And it turned out they were collecting federal unemployment tax, which government employees are specifically stated in the law exempt from. So after explaining that to them and signing a letter saying that I would take responsibility for not paying it, they did not take that $2,000. Now, in the meantime, I have to backtrack through all of last year and figure out what was withheld and then file a refund claim. Per payroll period, it's been a little bit of money because they only withhold tiny bits. And then at year end, they square up. That's very typical in that particular payroll tax. So that's part one. So we're going to have some squaring up to do where we will be getting money back from the federal government. Then we got a notice the other day from the state of Vermont Department of Taxes saying we owed $658 or something like that. And I have no idea what that is for. I'm going to try calling them and see if they can explain it. However, I also had a conversation with Frank Rucker, who said, and I guess this was in the news, that the Department of Employment Security or the Department of Labor and their whole office had a major IT breakdown, which has caused some serious errors. So I don't know how long that will take. So in closing, I just say that I will not, when Mike takes the helm, we will work out a deal so that I stick around long enough to clean up some of these specific things so nobody has to go hire a CPA firm to do it. And hopefully by that point, I'll be back to working as a volunteer and not coming in weekly. And I've been revamping all the instructions, and Mike is catching on quickly, and I'm pretty optimistic that we're moving in the right direction. So I think that's the bulk of my report, with the one thing that I've already mentioned to Dave and Mark. This may apply to you as well. As new grants are coming up for highway stuff, and as we're working to complete the salt shed grant and other stuff, I really want to get you guys connected with Judy so she can work in essence as your administrative assistant to keep it organized. And so we get our files back in the shape that they should be in, and probably better than they were even when I was there. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be great. Okay, any other questions for Samara from anybody before
Peter's got his finger up in the air.
Oh, Peter.
What?
Could you spell Ms. Akapura's name, please?
Oh, last name, it's Judy, and Akampora is ACAMPORA.
Thank you.
And yeah, and Guy, I just want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for signing her up and getting all her paperwork in and all of that good stuff. I really appreciate it.
You're
Oh
welcome.
my gosh.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. Well, I am going to.
Any other questions for Samara? Sorry. Going once, twice? Nope. Okay. Thank you, Samara, again for everything, of course.
Thanks, Samara.
No, thank you all too. It's really great working with you guys. So
It's been a great team effort.
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, have a good evening, and I'm sure I'll talk to you again.
Thanks. See you.
Thanks.
Bye, Samara.
Okay.
I like that.
Bye.
I love that painting behind you.
Oh, I'll tell Paul this is a Chicago painting.
Beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Take care.
Thanks, Samara. See ya.
See ya.
Okay. moving on to old business, the first item of old business, although it's kind of new business as well, is the town meeting ballot. So just checking to see if nobody else is looking to get let into the meeting. So everybody, I sent around to everybody last night a draft of the meeting ballot. So a few things to note about this. I followed this sort of structure that VLCT or the state of Vermont, I'm not sure. At the moment, I can't remember where the sample ballots came from. Maybe they were VLCT or the elections department.
I think those came from JP.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
So I followed the sort of format that they gave, though I kind of recreated them in a different piece of software so as not to make myself insane doing it.
I was looking for the warning that he sent.
So, I guess the first question is, I would prefer not to have to go through
Those are minutes.
this in enormous detail, but I want to make sure everybody's reviewed it. So if not, we should step through it because we do have to approve this tonight because these have to be produced and ready by February 9th, according to the statutes. Has everybody, so Gwen, if you've had a chance to look through this?
I thought you did a great job and I think it's fine.
Okay.
I looked at it several times.
Okay. Bruce, have you had a chance to look at it at this
Yes.
point? Okay. Did you notice, well, I guess I'll say, did you notice anything that you had questions about or thought should be changed?
No.
Okay. Joseph, have you had a chance to look at it and did you notice anything that didn't make sense or you thought should be changed?
No, I think it looks good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll say I spell checked it numerous times. I compared it back to the warning numerous times. I actually copied and pasted all of the text of articles 2 through 28 from the actual warning so as to hopefully eliminate making mistakes. All right, well, I guess if nobody really thinks there's anything about it that we need to change, then let's go ahead and approve it. Then I'd make a motion that we approve the annual meeting ballots as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Gwen. I guess any last comments before we vote it from anybody?
I just want to mention that I think you did a great job, David. As far as the election official, I like the size of the font. I like the ability for people to be able to read everything. So I think you did an incredible job under the circumstances that you were dealt with.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Does anybody else want to heap praise on me before we
appreciate
vote on
that.
this? I mean, we could go on
Hardly.
for more time if it's just praising me. Otherwise, we don't have time for it. But okay, then all those in favor of approving the annual meeting ballots as presented signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, then that is approved. So Guy and I were talking before the call. I do think, Guy, I mean, I understand that I was asking Guy whether it would possibly make sense to send the ballot to somebody at the elections division just to have them confirm that there's nothing about it that is wrong. And they, of course, have clarified that, they're not going to, they don't have any way of knowing whether we've put the right positions in or whether the articles are worded correctly and stuff like that. And that all makes sense. I would like somebody there to just look at the format of it and make sure there's not, for some reason, something about the format that they think is illegal, which I can't imagine that it is. Like I say, I reviewed their sample and it follows the general design of their sample one. So, but I think if you don't mind, Guy, it would still probably make sense to do that.
I will do it as soon as now that you approved it, I will send it to them and I will ask JP to make sure he takes a good hard look at it.
Okay. And so since we didn't make any changes, the PDF that you have can serve as the final PDF. Unless
Correct.
you want me to send you a different version or something.
No, and that will be also the one that I will upload onto the website.
Yep, perfect. So
As a
you'll
sample
upload
ballot.
that to the website. We'll be able to run these off so that we've got them. Is there anything else about the ballots that
I would like to know are you going to ask Julie to send out an email in regard to saying that ballots are available for absentee ballot? Or is it something you want me to do? Whatever you want to do.
I think it would make more sense for you to do it if you don't mind, just because
No, that's
they're
fine.
going to be contacting you and
Yep.
you're the one who's got to run the election essentially. So,
Yeah, I just want to make sure that once these
yeah.
were approved, then I can go my step and speak with Julie and get the information out to our
Yep.
voters and our neighbors.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
But no, otherwise it seems to me like on that we're pretty good. Not that we need to necessarily nail all of this down right now, but I have already put in my calendar that Monday night of March 1st to be counting ballots. Maybe certainly by the next meeting, Guy, I guess you want to probably firm up exactly who you've got for that night so you know.
Right, I will. Yeah, well, as the law states, the select board and the board of civil authority are the responsible people. We now have a new board of civil authority with the new JPs that have been elected. So I will contact everybody. I will get everybody on the same page and see what kind of teams we have to develop for this count. With 30 articles, it's going to take a little while, but I don't think it's a real big challenge. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any last thoughts about the ballot from anybody before we move on to the next item? Anything?
Nope.
All right. Okay. So then next up is the warning for the informational hearing. So I have to admit that during the process of creating this, I was very confused numerous times, honestly, as to whether we even need to do this. But VLCT's website really seems to make you believe that you have to use this kind of structure for warning the informational hearing, even though ultimately that informational hearing is really just a special meeting of the select board. So we might have been able to just warn it the way we warn any other select board meeting with the same kind of agenda as the select board meeting. But once I got into using their template, I figured I would just finish the job. So everybody also received a draft of that notice.
Dave, just one quick question in regards to like being a normal or a regular select board meeting. I was under the impression that you were going to turn the meeting over to the moderator, Mr. Parker, and
Yeah.
he was actually going to hold the meeting. Is that what you still plan, or?
Yes. Yeah. So I thought we'd talk through the logistics of that, but my point being more that the meeting itself, unlike town meeting, which is a town meeting. This informational hearing is actually just a meeting of the select board, because there's no other entity that would hold this meeting other than the select board. We're not obligated to have David Parker moderate
Right.
or doing anything. I think after we've all discussed it, I think it makes sense for us, and David's on board, that it would be good to have David moderate it, and I still think that makes sense, and we'll talk through some of the specifics of that as well. My point was more that from a posting standpoint and an agenda standpoint, I'm not positive that it needed to be in this different format. That's all. But it is now, and I think we should go with it. So
Yep.
that's
I think so.
my opinion there. So I guess in the same vein, Gwen, have you had a chance to read through this?
Yes, I did.
And do you have, not that we're going to, if we may end up going through this line by line a bit, but just in general, did you see things that you thought should be changed about it?
No,
Okay. All right. Bruce, did you have a chance to review this?
Yes.
Were there things that you thought potentially needed to be changed?
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Joseph, how about you? Have you had a chance to review it, and did you see things you thought should be changed?
Yeah, I looked it over and it looks good to me.
Okay. So a couple things to note about this. Not that I'm going to go through it line by line, but I will note a few things. Like I say, it largely follows this sort of format that VLCT was recommending. To the point about David Parker moderating it, part of the reason initially that I thought it would make sense to have David moderate it is I think it is going to take, depending on how many, I mean, honestly, it depends on how many people show up, I suppose. It's going to take a few people to administrate this meeting. David and I have already planned to have a conversation in advance. I'm also going to, when we get to it, I'll note, I'm going to put this on the agenda for the next meeting, and I'm going to ask David to attend the next meeting to discuss it with us, because I think we should all be on the same page about how we're going to run that meeting prior to doing it. There's going to be a lot of logistical things that we're probably going to have to deal with. I'm expecting that there are going to be a number of people who are going to be very confused about how to even join the meeting. I've put my contact information for people to contact me in advance, or my expectation is at least I, and maybe David as well, will be here in the town office when we do it. So I've put the town office phone number so somebody could call that night. But, you know, I've put the telephone information and how to dial in. I've put the web information and how to contact that way. And if people get confused beyond that, we'll just make the best of trying to help people as best we can. The agenda is the agenda. The only reason that the second item, well, a few things are on the agenda at the very top. The additions, deletions, changes to the agenda is really just for the purposes of what I contemplate being. Well, no, I don't think we'll probably even need to do that. I mean, we won't really have flexibility to change things, but we might be able, if for some reason something crops up that we've totally forgotten about, we would have the ability to add something quickly. The remote meeting rules of procedure, I think David and I, and then all of us at the next meeting, will have some discussions about just like logistically, you know, people will go into a waiting room and then they'll be added to the meeting, but we're going to need to identify people. And I'm going to make an attempt to be renaming people so we have an idea of who is who. we'll have probably a process for people to indicate a raising of the hand when they want to comment on something, and then we'll just work through them in the order that people did that. Honestly, I don't know what we necessarily have to expect as far as how many people will attend this, and if they do, how many people will really want to discuss things, but I guess we'll have a process set up so that we can deal with it as best we can anyway.
Dave, will you be using the town Zoom account?
Yeah, so actually I set this up using the town Zoom account.
Good.
The meeting tonight is still using mine, but the meeting ID that I created for this, I did set up using the town Zoom account.
So we can have up to 100 people.
Yes, right. And I need to spend some time probably going through and just looking at what our settings are to make sure we have, because some of the things that we're going to want to use aren't enabled by default in a Zoom account.
Yeah, you have to go into
I'm probably
settings.
Need to go in and tweak the Zoom settings to enable us to be able to have people be able to raise hands and things like that. Okay, and then the rest of it is just the agenda, which again was copied and pasted from the warning. It's literally just time estimates. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I'm hoping, I put basically 3 minutes per article for the appropriations ones. I'm hoping most of them go faster than that even. I put a little bit more time for some of the newer appropriations in the event that there was more on that. Obviously, I put more time for some of the bigger items, but all of the times are just estimates. I have no way of knowing how fast or slow this thing might go. I guess we'll see. Okay, then I would like to make a motion that we approve the, I guess I'm going to say the Town of Brookline Remote Public Informational Hearing Notice and Agenda. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Gwen. So any other questions or comments on it before we vote it from anyone? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the Town of Brookline Remote Public Informational Hearing Notice and Agenda as presented, I should have said, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so that's approved. So a couple things further to note about this. We are required to post this no later than, I think when I did no later than February 14th. It has to be posted at least 10 days prior to the informational hearing. So Guy, can you post this not only to the town website, but also physically on the boards? Just to
I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Now, if you want, I can also hopefully get a message out to Julie Livornia.
Right. Oh, so another thing that I should note about this, so it's a little, well, I guess I didn't add an agenda item for it anyway. So the town report, I approved the proofs from the printer earlier today, so that's about to be printed. Apologies that I didn't send drafts of anything around to anybody, but I'll be totally honest, I didn't get the financial stuff until Sunday night, and I basically didn't finish the thing until an hour before I had to send it to the printer. So there was no time to have anybody weigh in on it. I did after the fact have Julie Livornia do a quick look at it She didn't find anything major. I had Samara review the financial pages one more time. She didn't find any issues. Hopefully there's nothing significant wrong with it. The select board report was extremely brief. We were able to eliminate a number of pages, so it's only 16 pages plus a cover, and last year's was 24 pages. So we cut out quite a few pages. In the select board report, I noted the town meeting, why we're doing this, essentially encouraging people to come out and vote. I listed the details about the vote. I also made reference to the informational meeting and noted that the details of the informational, I said when the informational meeting was going to be, and said that the Zoom details would be on the town website. You'll see when you get your copy of it, on the cover, I put a little banner that says, I should have printed it out, that says something like town meeting or vote by ballot March 1st, Brookline town office 9 to 7, something like that. And I put in a couple of other places in the book where there was space, I put little starred boxes essentially that highlight the fact that we're voting by Australian ballot, and that there's going to be an informational hearing, and that the details about the informational hearing will be on the town website. So I like to believe anyone who gets the town report, it will be painfully obvious in numerous ways what our process is going to be, hopefully. So, okay, I guess that's it on the informational hearing. Guy, thank you for posting this and doing all the stuff on the ballot and all that as well. Give me a shout if there's something that you don't have, or if you need any help with any of that. Okay, moving on to old business item C, building update.
I only have two things.
Okay.
The first is, as of today, we'll say the 3rd, we're stabilized with our HVAC system and the water system and the plumbing system in Susie's. I can't tell you about February 4th, but as of right now, everything is stabilized. Secondly, on the 17th of March, which is the first meeting after our organizational meeting, I'm going to give a concise report of the revenue and expenses for the entire year, and things that I think that we need to go forth after that. But I'm going to wait until the new select board's in place before I do that. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Okay.
one last thing. I just wanted to let Bruce know that the report that I generated for you, Bruce, was every single thing that you had, other than the 2 that are on this tonight's warrant.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it gels with what Samara sending me. That's confusing me a little bit. That's why I didn't go on any further about it. But thank you. Yes, I've got that. The $600 on off the I believe it was $12,297.01, if I remember. Yep, and that was at 121. That gave us a net of 11,659 up, and then we got this month's money, and it's so further than that. I was close to what Samara had to say, but I didn't follow how she was coming with her numbers, so she's going to update me. Thank you, Guy.
Okay, cool. All right, moving on to summary reports. Guy, what's going on with town clerk?
Basically, we're doing what we have to do. We've had a couple of weather events. We've had a lot of researchers coming in. It's a typical, January, although this year seems to be a little more busy. and we're making appointments for everyone who wants to come in the office. I just want to let people know that their taxes will be due on February 17th. Dog licensing is also due by April 1st. And we can do a lot of those things by just putting a check in the back door in an envelope. As long as your dog is up to date with its rabies vaccination, we can do everything just like we did last year. So that should be pretty easy. I don't know about the vaccination clinic this year. If we're going to have the rabies clinic, that's still up in the air. We're working with the doctor in Dover, and hopefully we'll come to a conclusion sooner.
Is that it? That's fine if it is. I don't want
later.
to.
Other than that, everything is running.
What was the significance of February 17th again?
16th.
February 17th, I'm sorry, February 16th is when you can come in and you can pay your taxes. Again, we're asking everyone to please put their tax bill in the back door. It's a day that the town clerk will be in the office also, in the event there's some reasons you need to speak and find out what your taxes are and so forth. But we're trying to eliminate too many people coming in the office. So if they could just put their tax bills in the back door or mail them in, however they want to do them, that would be great.
Cool. Guy, I'm going to leave you a check for my dog license before I leave,
Okay,
so I don't forget again.
all righty.
Okay, cool. Thank you for all that. Moving on to highways and roads. Mark, what's going on with you?
Okay. In the past couple of weeks, we've talked with Archie about the roads. He requested that we order another truckload of road salt, and this next order will be our fourth truckload this year, which I believe we're kind of doing pretty good as far as road salt goes. We have plenty of sand. We also talked about the snow accumulation. If we continue to get more storms in the near future, possibly taking the grader out to push back the high snow banks to make room for more snow plowing. And also I've been in touch with Car Tree Service, and they've made arrangements to come into our town to do tree work on February 8th and 9th, which will be next week. Unless the weather becomes an issue, we could see some tree removal first part of next week.
Okay.
And that's basically all I have for you for tonight.
So they must have, I finally approved their quote. I kind of forgot to do that after our last meeting, but
Sure.
Henry emailed about it. And so, yeah, he must have gotten it because.
Dave, just one thing for Mark in regards to that correspondence you have from the state of Vermont in regards to posting the roads.
Yeah, so sorry, what about it? I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, okay. Mark, you know the drill. We have to designate whatever the weight limits are on the towns and put it on a website so that it's viable. So when you put your signs up during mud season, everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
I have the form. I have the form in the office. I gave it to Dave to let him look at, but by the same token, you and Archie have to actually fill it out, I believe.
Okay. I will make contact with you guys to see if I'll figure out what the weight limit should be, and then we'll make arrangements to get this filled out and approved by the board, and then we can use it as soon as we see our winter roads going bad.
Yep. Okay. I don't know. There's a date on Dave has I don't recall the date. but it
Yeah,
was-
I mean, it says that the report is due, if I'm reading this correctly, I'm just opening it now. It was in the correspondence. Looks like it says an annual report is required by February 10th of each year. Blah, 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 copy of the town one.
Well, if Mark could just drop by the office, I don't know, are you going to be in town tomorrow by any chance?
No, I'm busy for tomorrow. It'll have to be a different day.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll have it in your mail slot, and if you can pick
Okay.
it up and review it, and if you have any questions, just give me a shout.
Before next
Very
Wednesday.
good. Sure. I'll do that. I'll swing in first chance I get, and then I'll give you a call.
All right, thanks.
Cool. Sorry, Mark. So were there, and so one question I guess I had. So if the weather cooperates, then Carr is going to be coming Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Yes, that's correct.
And will you be going around with them, or will you be just pointing them in the direction of things and then they go on their, how? I can't.
No, the way I have it set up is I had gone around and marked the trees and then showed Carr Tree which ones, I identified which trees, and some of I marked with blue ribbons, and some of those ribbons have somehow come off the tree. So I'm going to go back through. I'm going back through to see which ones are missing and remark those trees. But then I'm also going to be helping with traffic control so that I can also be there to guide them from which tree to which tree that needs to get removed.
That's great.
So I will be working with them for the 2 days.
Good. That's great. Thank you for doing that. I think
Yep.
I'm sure that'll make it go even better.
Sure. Yep.
So, sorry, anything else for you, Mark? Or are you good?
No, that's it that I have for tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Next up is communications. Emails. I went through there. I don't think there's really anything other than a billion different emails about the same subjects. One thing I did want to note, just because it's still something that I've got to sort out. I've so far had no luck either with a referral from Ron Bell for an attorney potentially to help us with this right-of-way thing. I also reached out to Lori Rowell. I've gotten no response from her. So I guess I'll give her one more day, and if I don't hear anything from her, I'll reach out to Bob Fisher and see if I can get anything from him. But we're still trying to find an attorney to review this salt sand shed plan stuff. Hopefully we can find somebody who can do it, and hopefully we can do it quickly. So that was really it email wise. Physical mail, there's the weight permit stuff, weight restriction stuff that Guy and Mark were just talking about. We'll leave that for Mark. There's a flyer from Senior Solutions, what appears to be probably just their newsletter, or it's their annual report. And that is it for physical mail, which brings us to pay orders. First up is the payroll warrant. Gwen, have you had a chance to review the payroll warrant? Do you have any questions on the payroll warrant? Sorry, that's my abbreviation.
No.
No. Bruce, do you have any questions on the payroll warrant?
No.
Joseph, do you have any questions on the payroll warrant?
No.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion that we approve payroll warrant 2021-05 dated February 3rd, 2021 in the amount of $2,436.47. Is there a second to that motion?
Second it.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving payroll warrant 2021-05 dated February 3rd, 2021 in the amount of $2,436.47 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, payroll warrant is approved. Next up is the accounts payable warrant. Gwen, do you have any questions on the accounts payable warrant?
No.
Bruce, do you have any questions on the accounts payable warrant?
No.
Joseph, do you have any questions on the accounts payable warrant?
Yeah, I'm just curious, is that a typo where the recycling is in there twice? It's in there. It looks like every number is exactly the same except the amount paid, which is 0, 1, and then 184.
No, we do get multiple invoices from them. I'll just flip through and make sure, although I see one of them is for $0 unless I'm.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And just looking on the AP warrant, like everything, all the account numbers and check number is all the same. The only thing that's different is
Well, yeah, the account number and the check number probably would be the same because we're probably just cutting them one check.
Oh.
And the account number would be the same because it comes out of the same account. I'm just looking at the backup. So I see
Basically,
the
those are
invoice
multiple bills.
Yeah, hang on. I see the invoice for 131.52. Then there is another invoice for $0 for some reason. And then there is a third invoice for $184.95. Yeah, I mean, one of the invoices is from January 15th and the other one's from January 22nd. So yeah, they are all legit invoices. I mean, unlike Triple T, who does the hauling or who invoices us for the hauling, they just invoice once per month for all of the Brattleboro Salvage that actually processes the material. They issue a separate invoice for every load that gets processed. So if we're doing them, once a week-ish, it makes sense that we would have 2 invoices in the last couple of weeks, or that would overlap for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I guess I see that, and I misspoke when I said we have 2, because it makes sense that we have one for 115 and one for 122, but it just looked to me like it was a typo because there's 2 for 122 and one of them is $0 and one of them is 184.
Sorry, I'm not sure I'm seeing the same thing. Sorry. I see.
So I'm seeing 3 line items for Brat Salvage.
Yep.
And so the first one's for 115 and then the second.
Sorry, what's the one? I don't.
The date on 115.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the second one is date 122, and then the third one is date 122. But the second one's for $0 and the third one's for $184.
Yeah.
It's just curious if that was a typo in there, or if they did I don't know. It just looked odd.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'll say I'm not actually sure what this $0 one is, to be honest. It's not the same kind of invoice as their other invoices. It looks a little bit more like it's actually a waybill ticket for the 13152 version, because it has, which, actually, oh no, sorry. Yeah, they do. Yeah, okay. There's one for the, I think it being entered on the payroll, on the accounts payable warrant, the $0 one is a mistake. I think you're right.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
just a mistake that it was entered, but it's
not affecting the total.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they provide backup for each of these, and it looks like the backup, which isn't really an invoice, got entered by mistake.
Okay.
Though the date of it would have been the 15th, not the 22nd. It goes with the delivery from the 15th. Yeah, okay. Any other questions, Joseph, other than that?
No.
Okay. Then I'd like to make a motion that we approve accounts payable warrant 2021-06 dated February 3rd, 2021 in the amount of $11,662.98. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Joseph. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving accounts payable warrant 2021-06 dated February 3rd, 2021 in the amount of $11,662.98 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, those are approved as well. Whoops, I think I just threw my check off of the table. Okay, next up is setting the agenda for the next meeting, which will be February 17th. So we'll have, we'll talk about the informational hearing and sort of preparing for that, I guess. I am going to invite David Parker to join us for that. I think we should probably put on an item just to talk about the actual election and just make sure we're clear on the election on the 1st. Because this, of course, will be, our next meeting will be the last meeting before both the informational hearing and then also the election. So we'll put those on, and also we'll put on an agenda item just to talk about the organizational meeting, which will happen right after town meeting. And just like we've done in the past, we'll probably just take a look through the appointed positions and divvy them up to reach out to people to see if people are willing to be reappointed to various positions. Because we will, of course, have the election like we have every year. We'll have the election on the 1st, which is the Monday, and then our organizational meeting will be March 3rd, where we need to do all of the appointments, or as many of the appointments as we can. So we'll have an agenda item next time to prepare for that. Other than that and the normal things, I can't really think of anything else at the moment. Gwen, anything else you can think of for the agenda for next time?
No.
Bruce, anything else for the agenda for next time?
No.
Joseph, anything else for the agenda for next time, which for what will be your last meeting?
No, I do not.
Okay. Okay, then that's what we'll do. And now I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded by Bruce. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 7:39 p.m., which feels like a record.
Ask Gwen. Gwen knows.
In recent
No,
memory.
the record was 45 minutes.
Who was?
The record was 45 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that.
In recent memory, though. This
For
is
shortest.
Yeah, right.
Other than some special meeting or emergency meetings.
Actually, I kind of like these Zoom meetings, to be honest with you.
Well,
Yeah, I have to look.
well, and I don't know if anybody, it's probably a distant memory for all of us, but when we first started doing these, our meetings were a lot faster.